Hi guys, I'm Jennifer and welcome to my channel, Mint Green Gypsy. I hope everyone had a happy new year and thanks for joining me on my first video of 2025. Today I have some spring inspired thrift makeovers for you that I hope you enjoy. For project 1, I'm going to make over this wood swan wall pocket from the thrift store. Off camera, I took the swan outside and sanded the painted 80s flowers just enough to knock back the raised surface so they don't show through when I paint it. For the first coat, I am using Minwax Polycrylic to seal in the wood tannins and prevent bleed through. After the polycrylic has had time to dry, I am using Debi's DIY paint in White Swan to paint the front of the swan. I ended up giving it 2.5 coats of White Swan and letting that dry before adding Big Top clear coat to seal in the White Swan paint. I really did not want to paint over the eye on the swan because I liked it. I ended up taking a photo of the eye and practiced drawing it 20 or 30 times before I had the courage to paint it back on the swan. I am using air dry clay in the IOD Acanthus scroll mold and the primitive mold to decorate the wing of the swan. I really had no plan of how I was going to arrange the castings. I just made them one by one and arranged them to fit. In the end, I really like how it turned out. I add cornstarch to the molds, making sure to dump the excess out before adding the air dry clay. This helps the casting release easily. I think I forgot this step with the first casting, and that is why I had a little trouble getting it out of the mold. I have the castings arranged where I want them, and now I am taking Aleen's Tacky glue and using my finger to gently apply a thin coat and gluing the castings to the wing of the swan. I let the castings dry for about 30 minutes or so, making sure they have stiffened a bit but are still flexible, and I give them a coat of White Swan. I want the air dry clay to be firm enough so that the paintbrush does not ruin the details, but not totally dry because the paint slows down the drying process of the air dry clay, which helps to reduce cracking. Here's where I paint on another eye. I used Fusion and Coal Black for this because it has a built-in top coat and I wanted to make sure it didn't smear when I sealed in the white Swan clay paint. I used Debi's DIY paint and Summer Crush for the beak. To avoid smearing the Summer Crush, I used a generous amount of Big Top and with a very light hand brushed over the beak and then let that dry. I continued on with Big Top and sealed in the rest of the paint on the Swan. If you're enjoying this video, please don't forget to like it, and I would love if you considered subscribing to my channel. Please let me know what you think of this thrift makeover in the comments. For project 2, we will be giving this cute little birdhouse that I found at the thrift store a makeover. I am painting it all over with Fusion's Raw Silk, which is a creamy off-white. I ended up giving it 2 coats and then stippling the second coat to reduce any brush strokes. Now that the paint has dried, I am using IOD's Fronds Stamp set and their permanent ink in the color New Grass to stamp the roof of the birdhouse. When I am stamping, I make sure that my ink pad has plenty of ink. I put my stamp onto the thin mount and I gently press the ink pad onto the stamp. Now I am placing my stamp onto my project, making sure to hold the stamp in place with one hand and gently pressing the stamp with my other hand, and carefully lifting the stamp so that the ink does not smear. I thought the new color Electrified by Debi's DIY Paint went great with the green grass ink color, so I'm using it to paint the trim of the birdhouse. I ended up using 2 coats of Electrified and then sealing the entire birdhouse with Debi's DIY Big Top. And this project is complete. Let me know what you think in the comments. For project 3, we are giving this wood cutout cat a makeover. First, I'm giving it a coat of Debi's DIY paint in the color White Swan. As you see, when I dried the paint using my heat gun, I started to get bleed through from the wood tannins. At this point, I have not realized the bleed through problem, so I turned it over and I am painting the other side again with Debi's DIY White Swan. It's not showing up great on the video, but you can kind of see the tannins coming through the paint here. So I got out my Minwax Polycrylic and gave the wood cat a coat of the sealer. Debi's DIY paint line does have Salvation Solution, which comes in either white or clear, that would work for the bleed through, but I had the Minwax on hand, so that is what I'm using. I'm going over the polycrylic with my heat gun to dry the sealer, and now I'm ready for another coat of white Swan. And you can really see the bleed through here. Now the paint has dried and I am using Debi's DIY liquid patina, and I'm putting down a thin, even coat. I've cut out Roycycled Decoupage Paper in the pattern called Wallpaper to fit over the cat. I first mist the decoupage paper, which stretches the fibers and helps reduce wrinkles, and I lay it on top of the cat and gently smooth it out with my hands. I do this to both sides and then let the decoupage paper dry completely. I'm cutting off the excess paper and cutting little slits in the paper around all the curves of the cat to help make the sanding process a little easier. Here I had to go back around to some of the places where the paper did not adhere to the project and add more liquid patina and then let it dry. I'm using a medium grit sanding pad and sanding in an up and down motion and sometimes a side to side motion to remove the excess decoupage paper. Next, I applied Debi's DIY clear wax to the project. This gives me a protective coat and also helps me in my next step, removing the dark wax. I wanted to add some age to the bright paper, so after the clear wax, I put on Debi's DIY dark wax around the edges for an antiqued look. And this project is just about complete. Let me know what you think in the comments. For our fourth and final project, I am taking several thrifted items and I'm making a cloche with a bunny scene. This glass vase I am turning upside down and using E6000 to glue a wood drawer pull to what used to be the bottom of the vase. It would have been much easier if I painted the drawer pull before I glued it down, but I did not. So now I am using white Swan to paint it, and later, after it dries, I will seal the paint with Big Top. I added white Swan to this little clay cup and filled it with faux flowers, greenery, and moss, but unfortunately I lost the video. So now I am using hot glue for a semi-permanent hold on this little piece because I am taking it to my shop and I don't want it to move around inside the cloche. I got these mini bunnies on sale at Michael's last spring. I am also hot gluing them to the base of the cloche. Next I am adding reindeer moss to the scene, and then after that I decided to glue in some little pink flowers cut from some vintage faux stems that match the ones in the clay cup. To be able to fit the cloche on the base, I had to give the reindeer moss a trim. This project is almost complete. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today and watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.